7 o'clock. I think the camera's on, just to let the police department know the cameras are on. Film. Actually, I'm on film. So we'll let a couple people come in the door here before we get started. Welcome, come on in, have a seat.
They're all setting the alarm off.
Frisk all of them, it's the thing's going off.
They're all setting the alarm off over there.
All right, at this time I'd like to call this regular town council meeting to order for the town of Batesburg-Leesville. It is May the 9th, 2022, minute after 7 in our beautiful town hall complex. At this time I would like to do the invocation, and I'd like to invite my friend Shanez Paget, the worship director at Christ Community Church, to come up and lead us in a moment of prayer. Shanez, thank you. We'll get you turned on.
Okay. I didn't know if I needed to be Amen. It's a blessing to be here to pray for everyone. You're probably used to Ken Such, my pastor and friend, but you upgraded tonight to Beach, and as imagine.
Awesome.
And it's a blessing to be praying for not only our town council, but our community, as well as God's kingdom to come and His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. If you don't mind, please join me in prayer. Father God, we come to you in the only way that we know how. We ask that you continue to bless us and guide us as we continue to follow this beautiful town. We ask that you bless the leaders of our community this evening to understand who they are representing and to understand that you are the final authority. We ask that you bless all of us with wisdom, not only human wisdom, but as well as godly wisdom. We ask that you guide us, that you love us, and that you bless us. We love you and thank you, and all these things we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. And stand for the pledge if you are able, led by Mr. Gambrell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll wait for you, Mr. King. Item 4 is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second? Ms. Lemon? Second, any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
2?
Yes.
3?
District 3 votes yes.
4?
Yes.
5?
Yes.
6?
Yes.
7?
Yes.
8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes. Adoption of the minutes for the regular council meeting of April 11th, 2022, as presented in your packet. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So
Mr. Prowse? And a second?
second.
Mr. Wise? Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
2?
Yes.
3?
District 3 votes yes.
4?
Yes.
5?
Yes.
6?
Yes.
7?
Yes.
8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes. And adoption of the minutes, special council meeting from May 2nd, 2022, as presented in your packet. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second? Ms. Lemon, any discussion? District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 votes yes.
4,
Yes.
5, yes, 6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
8,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes. And this will be adoption of the minutes of the council work session, which was also on May 2nd, presented in your packet. Do I have a motion to adopt? Ms. Lemon, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Prowse, any discussion? District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 is going to abstain because I was not there.
okay. District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Wasn't.
abstain? Yes, ma'am. District 6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
8,
Yes.
Mr. Howard, yes. Motion passes. For the mayor's report, our next regular council meeting will be June the 13th, 2022. Council committees report, Central Midlands COG, Councilmember Hall.
Yes. The Rural Transportation Committee and Executive Committee of COG had meetings on the week of April 27th, 28th. The Rural Transportation Committee's discussion and approval of intersection pedestrian districts in Newberry County took up the majority of the meeting. In the Executive Committee, the major issues involved increases in rural TIP funds from $4 million and coast funding for $21 million.
Thank you, sir. EPAC, Councilmember Price.
EPAC met on April 20th. We basically did 2 amendments to the 2-year plan. One was to transfer 8 parcels from the East Richland County Public Service District, from their management to the Richland County Service District.
Dave, don't do it.
Okay.
And the second was a transfer of additional properties to the South Carolina Water Utilities private company for water service. And that is all.
Thank you. Item 3, the Common Advisory Committee, Councilmember King.
Dave, I'm sorry, I didn't know the microphone was on. So, the comment that, y'all know we meet. Question for Teddy Luckadoo is, I think I sent you that $21,000. Alright, so our initial fee to get that, the service, the Route 97, right, is $21,000, they bill you $5,000 per quarter. But at some point, we need to do a work session so that we can discuss whether we're going to fund the Comet in that bus route so that we can get our people to, and we probably need to revisit the route a little bit so that it's more geared towards getting people to work. So the route needs to go where people need to go. But the route also has, I think, 3 or 4 loops around town that gets people to Walmart and back to, wherever they get on the bus at. But at some point, we need to do a work session to see if council is going to actually fund that. We've done all the studies, I believe, and just so you all know that we don't have a voting posture on the Common. We are advisory. So even though, we attend all the meetings, at the end of the day, we can't vote. And we won't be voting members until we actually pay to have that service. So I think right now it's like $21,000 for the initial service, and we got the bus stops and the routes. So at some point, Ted, I would definitely like to have a work session so that we can move forward or not on that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. King. Joint Municipal did not meet. BL Chamber of Commerce update from President Mike Taylor. Mr. Mike, good to see you.
Good evening. Last week we had the general membership meeting, and we had Miller's Tech was there, and we presented, we recognized the 43 potential Batesburg-Leesville High School honor graduates. At the same time, there was presents were presented, and a letter from Dr. Raines was presented to each student. We had 87 members, parents, and students there, which I think that's the largest crowd we've had at general membership meetings since I've been there. Mid Carolina Electric Co-op will sponsor our meeting and have the program this month. A meeting to revitalize the Dream Catchers was held on Monday, May the 2nd at the Chamber. Previous members, the leadership, and other people that are interested in reorganizing the Dream Catchers attended. We hope to have it reorganized by the school year, 2022-2023 school year. The Chamber will host the South Carolina Poetry Festival Golf Tournament this Friday. We are praying that this is going to be lucky Friday the 13th. It isn't looking so good right now, but we hope that the rain will change. We don't want it to come Saturday. We hope it'll come Thursday morning and be gone the rest of the time. So, our chamber, the town of Rich Spring, the Chamber of Commerce, Edgefield County Chamber of Commerce are all working together for Peachtree 23-yard sale coming up Friday, I think, 3rd and Saturday the 4th. That's my report. Mr. Mayor and council members, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Mike. Ms. Schutte, do we have any public comments? Thank you. No unfinished business this evening, so moving to new business. Council will excuse the absence from last month's meeting for Councilmember Mitchell. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to go with Ms. Lennon. Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
2?
Yes.
3?
District 3 votes, District 3 votes, yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6?
How about two? How about 2?
7?
Yes.
8?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passed. Item B is a proclamation of Peace Officers Memorial Day 2022. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which it falls as Police Week. And whereas the day was set forth to honor officers who gave the ultimate sacrifice, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund reported that 153 law enforcement officers lost their lives in the line of duty in 2021. It is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of law enforcement, and that the law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas federal, state, county, and municipal law enforcement agencies have grown into modern and scientific agencies which unceasingly provide a vital service. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Town Council of Batesburg-Leesville that May 15th, 2022 is hereby declared to be Peace Officers Memorial Day, and that May 11th through the 17th, 2022 be declared Police Week in the town of Batesburg-Leesville, and that all citizens are urged to recognize fallen law enforcement officers, disabled law enforcement officers, as well as the law enforcement officers and their families who currently preserve the rights and security of all citizens. Now I have a motion to adopt.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Mayor, that we adopt it.
Mr. Gambrell, do I have a second?
Yes.
Ms. Brown, any discussion? District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 votes yes.
4,
Yes.
6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
8,
Yes.
yes. The motion passes. Resolution for the Peachtree 23 yard sale as presented in your packet. I don't know that does this need to be read aloud for anyone?
We stipulate.
Whereas the Peachtree 23 yard sale event will be held on Friday, June 3rd and Saturday, June 4th, 2022. And whereas the Town Council of Batesburg-Leesville will, for these days only, waive the $5 permit fee for any yard sale held on Highway 23. This is in effect for Friday, June 3rd and Saturday, June 4th. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Mr. Browse? I have a second by Mr. Gambrell. Any discussion? District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 votes yes.
4,
Yes.
6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
8,
Yes.
I vote yes. All right. Item D, first reading. This is first reading for an ordinance establishing sanitation rates for the town of Batesburg-Leesville. This ordinance is presented in our packet. The resulting of this ordinance will be so that each customer, each Kirby trash container that you have will be $14.27 per container per month, as a result of various increases in costs per the ordinance. Do I have a motion to adopt first reading?
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wise? Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Prowse?
Just one point for clarification. You mentioned the rate per Kirby. My understanding is that the recycle bins would be included. One recycle bin and one trash bin would be included at this rate.
That's correct.
Per month. And additional bins would be additional charges.
Thank you for that clarification.
Mr. Mayor, clarification, what's the additional charge per bin?
It's not written in the ordinance, Mr. Luckett.
Okay, the previous rate, Jay, you want to come up and address this? I know you worked diligently on this particular item.
If you would, Mr. Hendricks.
Your question is if you wish to have a second container?
Yes.
My understanding is that is the additional $14.27. You would pay 2 times. That it's double the rate. So if you get one container, it's $14.27. If you add another container.
That is a change from the current policy.
That is how we have been doing it.
My understanding in writing this, because there was a lot of discussion between the three of us in writing this, there's always been a charge per unit. It's always been the same as the original. So what happens is you're raising the rate on each one to $14.27.
Thank you. There was some confusion on this old man's part because numbers like $9 and $5 were discussed in the work session. So this is clarification. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion?
So we're raising the
Mr.
rate,
Kane?
we're raising the rate because everybody's getting a new,
No, sir.
why are we raising the rate?
Waste Management did their annual CPI increase. And our rate is going up. Their CPI increase for the year was 4.2%. So by nature, we're going to have to increase. There was further discussion at the work session that due to fuel surcharges and the cost of recycling surcharges that have occurred, that we were going to add an additional amount to the CPI increase to help to cover some of those costs that had previously been coming out of our pocket. And Jay, if I look at
And
it.
there was also, we had had back and forth that you were familiar with regarding the CPI increase in 2021, which was 3.6%. That had not been adjusted, and we just made that payment in early April and March. So we are behind in that rate increase. So this is bundling 2 increases together, plus the forthcoming surcharge on diesel.
All right, so now when is their contract up?
I think it's 23.
23.
So
23.
this increase falls within the purview of their contract?
Correct.
Okay, but we are going to bid for a lower bidder in the 2023.
That's a discussion we will have to have when that time comes around.
Okay.
And in the work session, the understanding that was passed on to council was that this rate that we have is much as in comparison.
Yeah. I don't have those numbers, but yeah, my
Right.
opinion is that they're comparatively, we're lower than.
Yeah, but I mean, when y'all always say that, but that really don't matter. We an individual entity, right? So we want to get as low as we can, not be competitive. You know, if everybody else is high, I don't mean that we need to be high. All right. So now, my question to council is, in the new contract, if the new contract is lower, will we then pass that savings back on to our residents? If we can get the contract in 2023 lower, will we return that savings back to the people?
That's not like That's a great statement, Mr. Kane. We can't vote on that in this moment.
I'm not asking you to vote on it, I'm just,
I think it's a great statement, though. Thank you.
well, I'm not asking you to vote on it, I'm just
I
asking.
understand. It's just the way you phrased it, but I'm with you.
When you say you're with me, you will return that money.
I can't respond, Mr. Kane, but you,
Okay.
I get your point.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Any other discussion? Thank you, Ms. Chandler. First reading, ordinance establishing sanitation rates for the town of Batesburg-Leesville, District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes,
3,
District 3 votes no.
4, 6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
8,
Yes.
and I vote yes, motion passes. First reading for ordinance to sell property owned by the town of Batesburg-Leesville located at Shealy Road, Saluda County, Leesville, South Carolina. Do I have a motion to adopt first reading?
So moved.
Mr. Prowse, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wiles, any discussion?
Ted, how many
Mr. Kane?
bids did we, or offers did we get on this property?
So at the work session last week, there were 2 offers brought to the table.
Was it the same 2 offers that were on the table before?
They were different.
When I say the same, I mean the same people.
No, one was the same, there was another new offer.
Any other discussion? District 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
3,
District 3 votes no.
4,
Yes.
6,
Yes.
7,
Yes.
8,
Yes.
and I vote yes, motion passes. Brings us to item 10, manager's report. Mr. Luckadoo, if you would.
I'm gonna start it off. Chief Oswald has asked for a few moments to begin the manager's report as he would like to give some presentations.
Absolutely. Welcome, Chief.
Sketchy group right here. This is great.
There you go, that's good. Come on, girl, you can get up there, man. It's all right. Come on. Go up there with Daddy.
Come on, I want you.
It's all right.
But they definitely scared.
She's not scared of me.
No, I can't see council people, I'll stay straight with the ball over there. I'll stay straight with the ball over there, so I can see them. There you go. That's good, I can see them. They can see y'all. What this is, ladies and gentlemen, council ladies, what I wanted to do is recognize the officers for the work they did during COVID. And let me read the formal thing I typed up first, and then I can say a few more. Let it be known to all who read this, during COVID-19 pandemic time, January 2020 to this date, that our officers and dispatcher jailers performed their duties to the highest degree of professionalism. Our officers answered calls of people needing an ambulance for severe COVID symptoms and arrested suspects who were stating that they had COVID. Our dispatcher jailers had to check on and feed suspects in jail and have contact with the public in our lobby with the possibility of COVID, all while protecting the public we serve, themselves and our families at home. All our people are to be commended for a job well done during the most extreme circumstances. And we know that, of course, that the COVID pandemic was something like we've never had before. But most people didn't realize what was going on. You take, for example, I use, for example, Detective Chandler over here. I was heading back to PD and we got a call of a gentleman at a local business that was disoriented. So I went there, first thing I saw was this truck parked crazy out front and he had a Delaware tag on. Went inside, the gentleman was in the waiting room, had absolutely no idea where he was. After I got there a few minutes, Detective Chandler got there, and she got his phone and called a most used number in there. Turned out to be his sister in Florida. Now, he was from Delaware. He was driving to his sister in Florida,
she thought, and he thought he was in Orangeburg. I guess he was going down 95, and he was at a hotel, supposed to be at a hotel in Orangeburg, and he was in Batesburg-Leesville. So she and I kept talking to him, talking to his sister, got him transported, and he later died in hospital of COVID. So she and I were right there with him the whole time, and a lot of these officers did the same thing. I mean, and I'm not taking away from the firemen and first responders by any stretch of imagination, because they were right there with us too. But this is my department, you know, and the firemen and EMTs were there also, just like we were. But these people, these officers and these dispatchers went through a lot during the COVID pandemic. And like I said, I can't tell you how many of us talked about undressing out in the garage before we went in our house, because we didn't want to take clothes in where we had been exposed to COVID by persons that we were trying to help. We actually, some of these officers had people they were arresting at a local business for shoplifting, actually tried to spit on them and screaming they had COVID while they were trying to spit on the officers. So this is one of the things, like I said, that happened that a lot of people didn't recognize that we do. So, Dispatcher Wyatt. Dispatchers, like I said, they're in the middle of it also. Baker. Chandler, that I was just talking about. Nimmons. He's narcotics, that's why he dressed look like this. He fits the part. With all the beard and everything. Beard and t-shirt. Mahogo. And Dent. Friends. I know this is going to do a lot more police work here. I've known Miss Dent, I just did it, Miss Friends, since she was 4 years old here in town, and back down as one of our police officers. And we need to get, not to take away from them, because we got some other hometown ones here, just like that. Just like me, that grew up here now with the police department, we need to do more of that. And not only that, when she went to school in the middle school, my wife was her librarian. It gets better than that. My wife spells her name S-H-A-R-M-E-N, and she spells her name S-H-R-M-A-N. So they got the same first name, basically. Except for one letter, right? Stones, Corporal Stones. Falk Knight. Watson. The baby. Watson's hometown, Chandler's hometown. We got a lot of hometown people here. Billings. Where'd you go? There you are. Hoplani. Hoplani's not hometown.
He is now.
He is now. Who you got? And Chris. Chris hometown.
I got you.
Let's see if we can get a picture.
Oh.
Motley crew here.
Back up.
Look at that, Dave.
Oh, that's hard.
Gee, give it. At least for another month you're on the department.
A lot of ugly on this end.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
He was talking about you, Corey. You wasn't talking about that.
No. Got a breeze on?
No yet. Now you can.
Okay.
I believe Chief Oswald has one more item.
Well, yeah, y'all can go back to work now. The mutual aid agreement that's on your, next on the agenda, what happened, we just, us and the sheriff of Saluda County just flat forgot.
For clarification, next month's agenda, not next on the agenda.
I thought it was next on the agenda here.
It's a report, it's part of his report.
Okay.
Right, I saw it on the agenda, that's why I was bringing it up. But anyway, of course, they had a new sheriff in Saluda County, and we've got to change our mutual aid to the new sheriff. It's not unusual for us to have mutual aid agreements, of course, between sheriff's departments, but we just kind of let it slip by us that they changed sheriff with the new election, and we didn't update our mutual aid with Saluda County. So, next month you'll vote on it, because they changed the ruling. Used to be, I just had to notify you that it had been done, because there's no money involved, of course, like fire contracts. It's just a mutual aid agreement where we help each other. But now, a court ruling later said now y'all have to vote on it, that you understand that we have a mutual aid with Saluda County, basically, Mr. Attorney, is that correct? So now you have to vote on it, where before I just had to notify you of that. So that'd be on there next time. Also, I'd like to say on the proclamation, y'all just agreed to, I appreciate it. Wednesday, we're having a wreath laying, just so you know, in Lexington at the memorial there. There's a memorial by the courthouse in Lexington of officers who have died in the line of duty in Lexington County. And we have the sheriff and I will be laying a wreath at that Wednesday at 9 a.m. If any of you are around that area, you're welcome to come. And also for you historians, this council meeting in 1980 is when I was made chief of police. Now, for the ones that are challenged with numbers like Councilman Hall is, that's 42 years. But I'd like to just go ahead and tell you it's 42 years. But 42 years ago, at the May council meeting, is when I was made chief. So,
Awesome. Thank you, Chief.
Just a brief mention, I couldn't be more proud of our police department. A couple weeks ago, an officer of ours' funeral was held in town. Our police department did a wonderful job of getting people in and getting people out of town, and really made that an easy process. So while we still have them in the back, I just want to share that appreciation. All right, we do have an upcoming event very soon, South Carolina Poultry Festival. Beginning this Thursday through Saturday. Hopefully the weather will cooperate so that we can get this festival back underway after taking 2 years away from it. I again want to express my appreciation, and I'm sure we all share in that, for what the Poultry Festival Committee does to put this event on, and all the volunteers who take their time to make sure that this event happens. As well, I want to share the appreciation that we have to the staff of our town, who are working very hard this week and work very hard to lead up to this with many different roles, and will be working through that festival very hard to make sure that it's enjoyable for everyone. As Mr. Taylor mentioned a while ago, Peachtree 23 yard sale, Friday, June 3rd and Saturday, June 4th. As with previous years, if any member of council or town staff would like to get a space out here at the town hall parking lot, certainly let me know, and we'll put you down. That would be for Saturday only, as Friday we are open for business and need to keep that parking area clear, at least on that day. The MASC annual meeting, I sent an email out to each of you. The annual meeting is July 14th through the 17th at the Charleston Place Hotel this year. As they have done in previous year, we as administration, more specifically Mr. Hendricks, who has been tasked with the registration process as our delegate, he will be getting the information. They have not released the registration form at this point, but would like to go ahead and get an idea if you were planning on attending, so that we know who to come to with registration forms. So if you can just let myself know, I have heard from a couple of you already. Moving on, I reported last month, just a quick follow-up on the South Carolina Geodetic Survey public meeting. That is 1 week from today here at Town Hall, May 16th, beginning at 6:00 p.m. I will say that this is primarily for those properties that are going to be affected in the change of the Lexington-Saluda County boundary line. There are a number of homes that are going to be moved either way. Those people have been notified by the South Carolina Geodetic Office about the public meeting. We are simply hosting that meeting here next month at 6:00. And they stated if any members of council wish to attend to hear the conversation or hear the feedback, you were certainly welcome to do so. Also reported last month, we had applied for a 2022 Cdbg Grant through Lexington County. Since last month, we have been notified that County Council has approved our request and awarded us $458,201 towards the liquid chemical feed improvement project at the wastewater treatment plant. Our preliminary projected cost for this, having not gone to bid, was $606,401. So the grant will take care of a majority of the cost of that project should the bid come in at what the projections were. The funds will become available around the 1st of August, and around that time frame, we will look at bidding that project out. Few project updates. Within the next week or so, Dominion Energy will be connecting their services from the power poles to the underground utilities they have installed at the Pine Street and Highway 23 intersection. They are in the process right now of confirming that they have their power phases correct before they begin to hook things up. That I would think that sounds very important. I don't know anything about it, but I would think that they would want to make sure that the utilities they run underground is phased correctly before they swap over. But they're doing their double check on that at this point, and once they have finalized that, they will hook everything up and the poles will be able to come down. You will notice a temporary pole has been placed on the backside of the sidewalk right in the curve. That once they take the poles down, that's going to be the temporary poles for the traffic lights until they come and install mast arms once the actual improvements begin in the intersection. The wastewater treatment plant improvement projects, extremely excited to say the new screw pumps came in after a long wait on those. They are here and they are currently being installed by the contractors. Basin 2 is all but complete. We've received our permit for operation on Basin 2. So really at this point, it's finalizing that headworks project and around August kicking off the liquid chemical feed project out there. And that's what we'll have left. As for the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission project, surveying continues. Joint Municipal has reached a contract with a property owner along that route for the future site of the water tank and booster pump station. They are in what's called the due diligence period at this point. That's not anything that we are directly involved in, but just wanted to update that they're making progress on securing that site. Financial update. As you can see, we ended our non-utility funds with $1,748,989 for the month ending April. Our utility funds ended the month at $3,553,855. We still have $1,166,463 in the American Rescue Plan funds. I will state that next month you will see a drop in that as we have ordered the new fire truck and paid a 50% deposit on that. So, but for month ending April, it was unchanged. And then for the infrastructure revenue bond, we still have $1,663,084.74. The hospitality tax checking ended the month at $575,876.73, making the total of all funds less the American Rescue Plan and revenue bond funds at $5,878,722. The next page that you've been provided is again the April side-by-side from 2015 to 2022. So if you want to see what our accounts have done year to year, you're certainly welcome to look at that. The general fund operating revenue ended the month at 84%, $3,940,365, with operating expenses of 92% at $4,321,097. The utility fund, which is completely off the grid just due to the wastewater treatment improvement project, ended at 130% revenue at $4,257,560, with operating expenses at 175%, $5,229,039. The Victims Assistance Fund, this is certainly a fund where we've seen an uptick in revenue over the past 2 to 3 months. From what we've seen over the past couple of years, the operating revenues are at 88%, and $6,564, and operating expenses at 87%, $6,493. And the hospitality tax fund is at 98% revenues at $556,617, with operating expenses at 104%, $585,611. That concludes my report.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Mr. Hall?
Mr. Luckett, does the general fund check and balance reflect we are current with waste management?
Yes, sir, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luckett.
I got you.
Mr. Kane?
Did you make arrangements with Angie? Did you tell her that I wanted to come down to the wastewater plant?
I don't recall us conversing about that, but certainly if you want to do so, I really don't remember.
Only reason why I didn't go down there, you said don't go down there. You said let me talk to her first and then you can go down.
Okay, sure. I'll call and contact you tomorrow about that.
Well, you got lucky my mama was watching this man right here. Ken, I do want to ask you one other thing. Do we need to vote to put the small cities on the agenda?
I'll have it on there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no executive session. Potential agenda items for next month's meeting, June 13th, 2022. Do I have a motion? If there are none, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Gambrell, and a second by Ms. Brown. Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
2?
Yes.
3? 4? 6? 7?
Yes.
8?
Yes.
I vote yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.